Welcome to the Diaries, Episode 11. We hope you enjoy this podcast while you drive, ride, roam, or drone. If you like what you hear, please like the heart button, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Multipliers and Dividers, Maxim Part 2 by Jim Jones. 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 times negative, 2 equals negative 4. 2 times 0 equals 0. It had been 17 years since I had dated anyone. To be fair, I had only seriously dated one girl, and we got married right out of high school. I was never great at math, but that was exactly why I got divorced. You see, my wife was having sex twice a day. I was only having it once. Now, even for this dumb hillbilly, that is bad math. After my wife moved out, she left me with the kids. I didn't even know how to do laundry correctly. I was kind of lost. After a marriage ends, many people experience grief much like mourning a death. As described by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, grief often moves through denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Not in a straight line, but in cycles. What's being mourned is not just the person, but the future, the identity, and the life that no longer exists. At the time, I did not realize I was on a new journey. If it were a TV show, it would have been called Life of Single Jim. Feeling that grief and the sheer sense of being overwhelmed, I cried. I was sleeping single in a big old bed. It felt unnatural. I stared at the ceiling and replayed every decision I had ever made. I worried about the kids, the house, the finances, the split, and how in the world I was supposed to be both mom and dad at the same time. My heart was bleeding and there was no tourniquet to stop it. I knew, at least from my sociology classes, that I needed time to heal, to reflect, and to make wise decisions. Knowing something academically and living it, however, are two very different experiences. In our neighborhood, my son and daughter had a couple of close friends. Their mom, a single mother, and her kids had moved a few hours away for work. Coincidentally, the week my marriage ended, we already had plans to take the kids down for a visit. Although my world was a full-blown train wreck, the kids asked if we could still go. I suspected they wanted to put as much distance between themselves and the drama as I did. When we arrived, the kids took off immediately. Kid things, kid speed. I stayed behind talking with their mom. I told her about the split. She paused, looked at me and said, "So, you're single now?" "I guess so," I said. She took my hand, and I discovered that I am not especially patient with grief. They say the grieving process takes time. I waited 3 days. I was healed. Life does not wait for you. If you stop moving, it will run you over. That weekend was my first real lesson in being single Jim. Life was not on autopilot. I was still in the military, still a parent. But after my desires kicked in and were satisfied, my better judgment took the weekend off. I felt like I had motorboated through the stages of grief measured. By the end of the third night, I felt like Austin Powers in The Spy Who Shagged Me. You know the scene? His wife Vanessa, played by Elizabeth Hurley, has been killed and replaced by a fembot. He pauses, looks sad, then brightens up and says, "Wait a tick, I'm single again. Yeah, baby." That scene aged better than my judgment. This was not high school anymore. I learned very quickly that women in their 30s had a different outlook on dating than the ones I remembered from math class. More importantly, I learned something about myself. Grief does not make you rational, it makes you reactive. And reactions can look and feel good in the moment, but in the long game, they usually are not. When I went to work a few days later, I was telling my friend Bill about the woman and my weekend. Bill was a Green Beret's Green Beret, at least in my book. He never mixed words. He looked at me and said, "There are 2 types of people in this world, multipliers and dividers." Then he did the math out loud. You've got 2 kids, a house, a car, and a wife out there, and you don't yet know how the lawyers are going to decide your fate. This woman lives 2 hours away and has 3 kids. You're going to need a bus and a loan just to take them to dinner. He was right. After a few weeks and one trip to the movies with what felt like the Partridge Family, the woman saw it first. She said, Jim, you're nice, but I'm not ready for a relationship and I don't think you are either. She was right too. I had just been schooled by Miss Robinson. This is not an article about relationships, marriage, or family structures. Those are outcomes. This is an article about decisions. Relationships, careers, families, communities, and even nations rise or fall based on the same quiet mechanism. What we choose today determines what becomes possible tomorrow. Not only for us, but for everyone connected to us. In math, 2 times 2 equals 4. Growth does not require complexity. It requires direction. When 2 good things are combined, the result increases. But 2 times negative, 2 equals -4. The effort is the same. The outcome is not. One builds, the other reverses. Life works the same way. Our decisions carry a sign long before they ever produce a visible result. Positive decisions, multiplied over time, expand what is possible. Negative decisions, especially when repeated, do not merely slow progress, they push it backward. 2 times 0 equals 0. There is one more equation people like to ignore. Do nothing, and that which you have, you will lose. There is no neutral setting. Choosing not to choose still changes the math. Wherever you land on religion, most old wisdom traditions are blunt about this. If you refuse to work, you should not expect to eat. Don't work on a relationship, someone else will. No one owes you anything. Effort applied to inaction produces nothing. Choosing not to choose is still a choice, and over time, inaction guarantees loss. If you are watching your kid play video games all day and think he or she will build the next Xbox, you are probably wrong. They will just divide your household resources and someone will have to work harder to feed them. These ideas are not modern, they are ancient. From the very beginning, people were told to be fruitful and multiply, build something, do something, add to the world instead of subtracting from it. That call is about order, responsibility, and stewardship. It is a call to build a life that grows with purpose, not one that collapses into chaos. Multiplication is only a blessing if what is being multiplied is sound. Growth without wisdom is not progress. It is acceleration toward collapse. There is a biblical story about a master who entrusts his servants with different amounts of money before leaving on a journey. 2 of them put what they were trusted with to work and return with more. The third is so afraid of losing it that he buries it in the ground. When the master returns, he praises those who took risks and multiplied what they were given. The cautious one who simply preserved it is condemned. Not because he lost anything, but because he refused to create anything. Doing nothing is not neutral. Inaction is a decision. What is given is meant to grow. Some decisions act as multipliers. They build trust, create resilience, and expand opportunity. Others introduce negative values into the equation. They inject division, weaken institutions, and drain strength from systems that depend on cooperation. History and experience make it clear. Every kingdom, village, or family that turns against itself eventually falls. Division does not need an external enemy. It collapses under its own internal weight. Friction eventually destroys. People often misunderstand division. They think it means conflict or argument. It does not. Division is misalignment. It is pulling in opposite directions while pretending to work together. That is negative multiplication. Effort applied against itself. Communities run on the same math as families and marriages. When enough people make small, responsible choices in the same direction, the results compound. When enough people choose comfort, silence, and short-term gain, the decline is just as real, even if it is slow and quiet. That is why a town, a community, or an organization can look busy and still be dying. The calendar is full. Meetings are held, committees form, reports get written. But if the underlying decisions carry a bad direction, all that motion just multiplies the wrong things. The math does not care how sincere anyone is. Direction, not activity, decides the outcome. Life rewards responsibility, telling the truth even when it hurts, and thinking beyond the next turn in the road. Shared effort lowers friction. Trust turns individual sacrifices into stability. When people pull in the same direction, ordinary choices become multipliers. Success may be slower, but it is sweeter, and it brings more peace. The same principle applies inside families. A dual-income household is often a financial multiplier. Two people sharing risk and responsibility can build more together than either could alone. That is simple arithmetic. But wisdom requires acknowledging limits. Unless two people die at the same moment, one of them will eventually bury the other. No amount of income or optimism changes that reality. Children are often portrayed as a divider because they are expensive, time-consuming, and exhausting. That framing is narrow and short-sighted. Children are not a short-term expense. They are a long-term investment. They are continuity. They connect generations. They anchor families to the future. As children grow, a good child brings more than cost. They multiply your life. They bring perspective, hope, and meaning. They force adults to think beyond themselves. There is also a practical reality many families discover later in life. As parents age, care becomes necessary. Across cultures and generations, daughters are often more likely to step into caregiving roles. That is not a rule. It is not a guarantee, but it is a pattern observed again and again. This is not transactional thinking, it is resilience thinking. Strong systems do not rely on single points of failure, they build redundancy. Families that invest in children are not buying insurance, they are building continuity. Most lives are not diminished by one dramatic mistake. They are divided slowly by repeated small ones. Choosing comfort over discipline, avoiding hard conversations, trading responsibility for convenience. Each decision feels insignificant on its own. Together, they compound into decline. Do you have friends or family members who only take and never give? I call them energy vampires. They drain the life out of you and everyone around you, not because they are struggling, but because they refuse to change. Spend enough time around people like this, and mathematically, bad outcomes follow. Sometimes they are like a person drowning. You can offer to help, but if they refuse it, they will pull you down with them as they go. We see that pattern play out in the headlines every day. The opposite is also true. Spend time with good people and good things tend to happen. Spend time with disciplined, successful people and success often follows. Not because of luck, but because habits, expectations, and standards multiply. Negative multiplication is dangerous because it feels productive. People stay busy, they work hard, they sacrifice, but they are multiplying the wrong values. The math never stops working. It just works in reverse. Multipliers are rarely exciting in the moment. They require patience, restraint, and foresight. Negative decisions often feel good immediately. They promise relief, validation, or ease. Time does not care which you prefer. It keeps perfect records. No one gets a perfect grade card in life. No one gets out of this without a few bumps, bruises, and black eyes. But if you make just one decision today to make your life 1% better than it was yesterday and repeat it tomorrow, you will be better than you are today. And when life throws a speed bump in front of you, push through it. In the end, the most important decision a person makes in life is not where they started, what advantages or disadvantages they were born into, or even what job they landed. It is who they choose to partner with and who they allow closest to them. Sex is not casual because consequences are not casual. One good night can carry long-term, irreversible consequences: an unwanted pregnancy, a disease, a broken relationship, or a divorce. Multipliers rarely announce themselves loudly. They show up as people who tell the truth, keep their word, and pull their weight even when no one is watching. They take responsibility for their past instead of dragging it into the present. They add clarity rather than confusion, stability instead of chaos. Over time, their habits compound, trust grows, friction drops. Ordinary effort produces outsized results. Nothing magical happens. The direction is simply right, and the math does the rest. I learned that the hard way. Somewhere between twice a day and once a day, the math stopped working. That wasn't just a bad marriage, it was a bad equation with long-term consequences. Multipliers and dividers matter, but direction matters more. What you choose to add determines what you will eventually have to subtract. The math will follow. If this made you uncomfortable, it probably mattered. If it made you think, it definitely did. Leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, or sit with it for a while. The math doesn't rush. The future is already doing the math. If this resonated with you, please like the heart button, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thank you, Jim, D-Jones.